There are 3 potential NFL first-round draft picks from the Big Ten Conference that could make some big-time impacts. I think that they're going to make big-time impacts right away in their rookie season. Who are they, and why exactly do I think these guys could be big-time players in the future in the National Football League? I'll get to that. But before I do, it's a great time to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Big Ten football content all offseason long. Always smash that like button to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses. There's a lot of depth, I believe, in this Big Ten NFL draft class this year. Look, if you're looking for players, the Big Ten has them. I'm going to talk about guys that right now are slated in mock drafts in the first round, but there's really good players in the second round. There's going to be really good players from the Big Ten that you can grab in the third round. The first player that I'm going to talk about is Devon Witherspoon. Man, do I love watching this kid play. I was watching earlier this season. I was watching that Friday night game between the Illinois Fighting Illini and the Indiana Hoosiers, and I, like a lot of people, saw that big-time hit that he laid, and I'm like, whoa, who is that guy? And the more I watched Illinois throughout the season, he is that dude. Devon Witherspoon is a guy that can do it in all facets of defense. He is attracted to the football. If he's hanging out in Lake Michigan in Chicago, right, if he's hanging out by the pier and he's just walking lakeside in Lake Michigan, he's going to find the football in Champaign, Illinois within a couple of seconds. That's how good he is at just finding the football. His ball skills, I think, are off the charts. Right, when he goes up and defends a football in the passing game, he can come down with the football and he can take it back to the house. Like, that's what he can do. He's got great skills, just great athletic ability, and his physicality and his ability to just lay the lumber, hit and defend the run, and just his tackling ability, I think is going to attract a lot of guys. Like, there's other corners in this class, Penn State's Joey Porter Jr. included, that maybe like to stay on an island. They are better maybe in coverage situations, but Devon Witherspoon, I think the reason why he's really rising up draft boards right now is because of his all-around style of play. A lot of mock drafts have him right now going into the top 10 to the Detroit Lions. What a combination that would be with his style, with his physical play, combined with that gritty attitude that Dan Campbell has brought to the Detroit Lions. It would be just a really, really good fit, I think, for all parties involved. But Devon Witherspoon, kind of early to middle of the year, we're talking as the middle first-round draft pick, kind of in the middle of this last Big Ten football season, and now this guy's a top 10 pick. I think the more that scouting departments, and people that are involved in the draft process lay eyes on his film, he's going to continue to attract more attention as we continue to progress through this process. Next guy I want to talk about, Peter Skoronski, right? You want a solid offensive tackle that's going to protect your multi-million-dollar investment, because we know it's a quarterback-driven league. And a lot of teams that are drafting high, especially in the top 10, they might have young quarterbacks now, or they might eventually go and get a young quarterback. And you want to protect that investment. Like, having a quarterback is great, but you need to keep him upright. Peter Skoronski will keep your quarterback upright for 10 to 15 years. When I look at Peter Skoronski, there's a lot of things that remind me of a guy like Joe Thomas. Okay, you get a guy right there at offensive tackle that's going to protect the blind side and going to protect the quarterback. You slap him in there for 10 to 15 years, set it and forget it, and you don't have to worry about that position for a decade. That's the kind of guy I see when I look at Peter Skoronski. He was valued as maybe one of the top offensive linemen or top offensive tackles at the beginning of the season, and throughout the season, he's just proved that. I looked at film of that Ohio State game where you had really good pass rushers for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he was able to engage with them. He's got really strong upper body strength, really strong arms. Once he latches his arm on you, you ain't getting free. Okay, pass protection, of course, is kind of a big thing when you look at an offensive tackle. I want to protect the blind side. I don't want edge rushers getting behind it. And I think he's done a really good job at that at Northwestern this year on a not very good Northwestern team. He's been maybe one of the bright spots of that offense this season. And when I look at that film against Ohio State, some of the best edge rushers in the country. He's kept them to the inside. And he's obviously a bull going forward in the run game as well. So Peter Skoronski, you want to protect your investment. The Northwestern Wildcat offensive tackle, big old number 77, could be the way to go. Last guy I want to take a look at is Jackson Smith-Njigba. I really think he's going to make a big-time impact. Maybe not necessarily because he's talented, and he is talented. He's supremely talented. Like when you look at wide receivers, he might be the best to come out of this because of where he could be drafted. Okay, because of the injury problems, a lot of mock drafts has him going down late in the first round. What do teams have, or where have they been in the first round or late in the first round? Those are usually teams that made the playoffs. Teams that make the playoffs usually have good quarterbacks. I think that's going to be a big reason why Jackson Smith-Njigba could develop into one of the NFL's best pass catchers maybe in a few years, because he's going to go into a situation, not sure where it could be, but right now he's slated right there in the late first round, where he could go into a situation with a good quarterback where maybe they just don't have the weapons. Maybe they don't have the receivers right now, and he could be the main guy, maybe number 2, maybe number 3 in that offense, and could put up big numbers right away with a really good quarterback and a really good football team that drafts late in the first round. Like, you'll just look back to that film last year in the Rose Bowl. You know how explosive this guy is. He's got size. He's got speed. Look, Jackson Smith-Njigba, I believe, is a total package at wide receiver coming out of Ohio State. And now you get a good quarterback and a good offensive scheme, getting him involved and throwing him the football. Only good things are ahead for Jackson Smith-Njigba. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think that maybe it's going to be some other guys? There's other guys in the first round. You look at Paris Johnson. You look at Joey Porter Jr. There's obviously C.J. Stroud. There's other guys that could go in the first round. Maybe that could be bigger impact players. Do you think it's going to be one of those guys? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Big Ten Ted if you haven't already. I'm Big Ten Ted. We will see you in the next one.